Advisory Board meeting to order. Can you please take roll?
Mr. Brookover? Mr. Bricker?
Here.
Ms. Cunningham? Here. Mr. Dalton?
Here.
Mr. Hayward?
Here.
Ms. McWhinney? Here. Mr. Rush?
Here.
Ms. Thompson? Here. Councilman Browning? Vice Chairwoman Hibinger?
Here.
Chairwoman Lash?
Here. Can I have a motion to excuse Chairman Browning and Mr. Brookover?
Motion to excuse.
I second.
Oh, call roll, please.
Mr. Bricker?
Yes.
Ms. Cunningham? Yes. Mr. Dalton?
Yes.
Mr. Hayward?
Yes.
Ms. McWhinney? Yes. Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Ms. Thompson?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Hibinger?
Yes.
Just want to make sure I was heard.
You were. Chairwoman Lash?
Yes. Can we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting, which was on January 15th?
So move. Second.
Okay, can you call roll, please?
Mr. Bricker?
Yes.
Ms. Cunningham?
Yes.
Mr. Dalton?
Yes.
Mr. Hayward?
Yes.
Ms. McWhinney?
Yes.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Ms. Thompson?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Hibinger?
Yes.
Chairwoman Lash?
Yes. Move on to item 3, public comments. Sir,
For the public comments. I'm Scott Hansen. I've lived here since '70.
Do you mind coming up to the?
So I have couple quick questions. One is, will we cover anything to do with the cemetery and the proposals of
Hey, Scott, can we, you state your name and your address for the record, please?
Scott Pansing, 238 Fairway Road? So my couple questions. One is, will we cover the proposal that I saw about the cemetery revamp tonight? That will be done tonight? Yes or no? I know they proposed it.
Yeah, right now we're at the stage of the draft master plan, and we had it on our last meeting, I believe. But if there's some comments, we're looking at a public meeting. If there's something that
Okay.
you'd like to, that's in April. If
Okay,
you'd
so
like to attend that, you're more
That's why I should
welcome.
bring that up.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. I can send you an invitation to that meeting if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
give you
yep.
that information.
Okay.
Second, somebody specifically talked to on the city pool and activities that pertain to that. Do we have a person? Would that be you again?
Yeah, it'd be us at the YMCA. They're not here right now, but we can always relay any comments you may have, and we can discuss it here tonight
The
too.
YMCA is in charge of that whole facility?
Correct.
Including theirs? Okay.
They run the pool for us. Yeah.
Okay, those are my two questions. I didn't know, I don't have any comments now since the comment I had be covered
okay.
in April. And then I'll talk with him about the YMCA, or I have to wait and talk to the YMCA in April.
You could talk about it tonight if
Yeah.
you wanted to. I mean, if you wanted to ask some questions about tonight, we could discuss it.
To the
Yeah,
group? Okay.
absolutely. Mhm.
So in the past, the pool, there was ability for people to teach scuba diving, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus at the pool. That was done a couple of years ago. I know that hasn't been done in a few years. I would like to talk to them about possibly working with the Columbus Scuba is a professional organization out of Columbus, and to teach up here the course. There's some litigation, some issues we have to address for insurance and things like that, but I just wanted a specific person to talk that over. But I know this has been in the past, it's been done in the past, I've actually helped in the past. But I'd like to know, open, since I'm assuming the insurance end of it is covered by the Y, or the insurance end is covered by the city?
It's covered by the Y, but for a program like this, we'd probably, depending on the class, ask that you use your insurance also as in name the city as a co-insured.
Correct. Normally the way it would work is we insure the students in the scuba portion, but to be on the property like a regular swimmer, that would be covered by the regular insurance, using their facilities, things like that. That's covered under theirs. We wouldn't take all the liability from the time they park their car until they get to where we're doing our class. It would be a general insurance. And once again, I think that's.
Yeah. Do you know how many hours a week that involves?
So the course is usually 4 weeks. It's usually about 3 hours. Most of the time, we've always done it on a Sunday, which is a very low usage at the pool. And it would be 3 hours Sunday nights for 4 weeks. That may be once a month. So it would be most likely June, July, and August. I'm not sure exactly. I think the pool opens fully in between those two, between school closing and school opening. And it most likely would be between 6 and 12 students.
Yeah, no, I can take that information and get back with you and discuss it with the Y. Maybe we set up another meeting with you and see
Because I know
what our options are.
the Y is bringing their own form of the scuba diving back in. They used to have it, and they got rid of it to do other things, but they're talking about it. But we just see the fantastic facility here
Mhm.
within, this county and the amount of growth the county has. A lot of people like to take their class close instead
Okay.
of driving all the way into Columbus every night or every Sunday night to make it a little more difficult.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep, no, that'd be
Those are my
great.
questions. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no more public comments? You good? Okay, then we'll move on to the update of the YMCA.
Unfortunately, Liz isn't, I don't think she has, I don't know if something came up. I haven't heard from her, so I don't know if she'll be able to make it tonight, but I think her report make it in?
It wasn't in there, yeah.
Okay, we'll get that report to you. It was late, but we'll get that to you in the next week or so and make sure that gets to you. If there's any other questions, I'll try to fill in and answer for her if you have any questions about that. One thing I did want to bring up was the Easter egg hunt is coming up. I think I sent out something. We're looking at doing something a little bit different this year with the program. It kind of got huge numbers in the past, so we're looking at doing, I know where you think we're kind of looking at piling on, but we're adding Family Day to the event, but we're also spreading out 2 egg hunts. And the idea here is that we'll have an egg hunt at 9:30 and 11 o'clock, and instead of people coming for the egg hunt and leaving immediately as the egg hunt's over, that maybe some of those people will filter into the Y and to the Family Day at the Y and delay some of the exiting and going to the Y. So I think our idea is we need to try something a little bit different because we were getting about 700 people at the Easter egg hunt, and it was kind of enormous. And the parking became an issue last year. Streets were packed, so we're hoping this will maybe spread out the influx of people in and out of the park there that day. Didn't hear too much. I don't think.
I said something, we typically had a table.
Oh yeah, yep.
The only thing with that is I know a lot of us have kids that play soccer, and
Yeah.
soccer games also happen that day.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I definitely am willing to sit at the table again, stand at the table again. It's just going to depend on
Soccer schedules. Yeah.
What are the hours of the actual, if this is further down, but we can move it, the actual Family Day?
Family Day is, I believe, is it 8 o'clock it starts or 9? It starts at 9 to 12.
What day is that again?
April 20th?
It's a Saturday, April 20th. And that was the, last year we did have a table there. There were about 3 of us, I think, that manned it. And it was also when we were doing the survey and we raffled off
Yeah.
couple prizes and that kind of stuff. So there was a fair amount of people there. I think we had a lot of people go through.
Yeah.
Anyone is interested and available that day.
I can help with any or all of it. We already have our soccer schedule and we don't have anything that day. So just let me know.
Yeah, and I know like the time, like both of my kids will have soccer games, so, but I can be in and out. Like I don't
Okay.
know when they are yet.
So are there soccer games going on over there at the Y at the same time as all this too?
I don't think at the Y that day there shouldn't be.
They're-
It's Easter weekend. I don't know how.
Are the gear
Yes.
games scheduled there that
Yeah,
day too?
it's
Are they in the afternoon?
They're in the mornings. There's soccer games every Saturday, starting April 6th and going through May 11th.
I'm gonna say that that day those soccer games will be canceled because there's no way they'll be able to pile soccer games in there too.
Hey Liz, come on up. Just kind of fill in a little bit.
DYAA would have known about that, so he should not have scheduled any
I
games
don't
that
know.
day.
But that's at Mingo.
Talking about the Easter egg hunt.
Oh, yeah, there should be.
This would be the Y, yeah.
Yeah, there's a leak part of that. I don't have anything Bingo. Not that you would use Bingo, but those fields are not saying that speaks. for
The Mingo they might, but with DYA, but,
No, I'm just saying because I helped Art schedule some of that, but that doesn't mean. Something didn't happen after I.
Yeah, we won't be able to have soccer practice or anything that day, so we'll verify with Art and make sure that none of the fields are used out there. We're just for updating the YMCA recreation services, so I just went over to Easter egg hunt. Anything else to add?
Because mine isn't pulling up yet. Okay.
I said we'd have a report maybe next week.
Well, actually,
You have it now?
I did my best. I'm sorry, this is my first attempt. I apologize that it's black and white and then being handed to you instead of. Well, I can send it digitally as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The third page, I believe, is all of the updates for sports. So Mingo Recreation Sports, or fourth page, I guess, the very last page. I got 10. Jackie, she's got 10.
I'll just, I can make a copy now. Do you need an extra?
No, it's all right. I've got it right here. Sports are doing really well right now. There's around 170 athletes for all of our basketball leagues. That gave us 8 teams for 3rd and 4th grade, and 10 teams for 5th and 6th grade. Tennis was a success. We had 11 players this time around. Our high has been 15, but last year I want to say they said they had about 8. So we are increasing again. And winter is not always the most, the season that people think of tennis as often. So we've got that. Are there any other questions with programming? I know that he gave a whole bunch of information. Rob was supposed to be here with me tonight. However, he ended up sick with the flu. It's going through the Y, so I apologize. He's not here. Spring soccer registration is closed. They are doing pretty well with that. Tennis, baseball, softball, and adult baseball. I'm sorry, adult softball registration is all open. We have the Easter egg hunt on the upcoming events. If you look at the pictures that I sent you. The Easter egg hunt, there's no registration needed. However, we have that on all of our calendars. There's going to be an intro to pickleball. Registration is currently open, and that's for youth. It should be all through April. And then there's an adult spring pickleball league. This will be both indoor and outdoor. We'll only use indoor if the outdoor is weather prohibited. As for the Y, we've offered a whole bunch of new classes that we haven't had the opportunity to offer before. So we have Dungeons and Dragons, we have cooking, we have cartoon drawing, German language, and women on weights. We had once run that probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And now we have the opportunity to run it again. So we're really excited about that one. We have a lot of staffing updates with the Y. If you knew Stacy Ty, yesterday was her last day. She is no longer our athletic director. Erin Smith, however, who is our assistant athletic director, has stepped into the athletic director position. Kaylin Kaiser will be joining us from Disney World. She starts in April, so we're really excited to have her join us. Jake Bonafiglio, who is our youth sports director, or one of our youth sports director, is actually moving over to Mingo. He's going to take over as a Mingo director. He will basically do anything that is not pool related. So he will be in charge of any light maintenance. He will be in charge of staffing anything that is not the pool. So concession stand, the desk for all of the pool area, the managers on duty. We've budgeted to have a gym monitor there in the evenings. So he'll take care of staffing for all of that. If you guys have any questions with anything Mingo or Jack Lawrence pool related, he will be our go-to guy. He knows all our lovely system for registration, so he'll be taking registrations at Mingo as well, which will be a nice benefit that we didn't have last year. To replace him, Michael Dutton will be joining us as a as a youth sports coordinator. And then we are currently looking for a child watch coordinator. Our child watch coordinator went to the shelter, the family shelter. She's doing fantastic work there, but couldn't balance both at the same time. So if anybody knows anybody, have them contact Roger. Are there any questions with live programming or Park and Rec programming?
Are you, I'm sure this is a question every single year, something you guys look at every year, but I know every year as the pool is open and goes later into the season, chairs become broken and less. Do you guys rebuy chairs every year?
Yep, we do, and then we also buy them halfway through the season as well. So we buy them brand new, and then I want to say in July, we had the second round come through, just because you're right, they just break. Any other questions?
Yeah, I missed anything about the early access to ball fields?
So I know that they were going to request early access to ball
Okay.
fields. Unfortunately, like I said, Rob ended up being ill, and he's the one who was going to bring that up. So,
Thank you.
yep, I apologize.
No problem.
Liz, Tom wanted you to touch on the update on the forms
Oh,
on the
yeah.
website.
So the forms, we took the YMCA logo off of the forms. We're still working on trying to differentiate them a little bit better visually from the current YMCA forms, which look very similar except for they have YMCA logos instead of Delaware City logos on them. Rob and I will be working together on that now that he will be overseeing all of the sports as kind of the #1 person for our Delaware YMCA. Jeremy is still his supervisor. However, Jeremy oversees all of the entire region. So it's kind of more of a specific thing. We did also change the font on this to match the Delaware font. But like I said, we'll be updating it yet again. This one will probably stay the same. The YMCA one will probably be adjusted so that there's a much more visually different between the two.
It's so that one of the questions always comes up, which are Y programs,
Yep.
which are city-sponsored programs, and that's why they're doing the changing
Yeah.
on the forms.
Absolutely, and then we're also working on the website. It's slow going because I'm the person who does that, but I'm also running the buildings right now, so I'm trying to catch up, but I will be working on the website. Actually, that's this weekend's project. So hopefully that'll be up and running in the next couple of weeks where the programs are a little bit more differentiated and a little clearer, which are actually Y programs and which are actually Delaware Rec programs.
And one of the differences we want to make sure is you don't have to be a member of the Y to join these programs. I think there was some confusion before that, well, I want to do flag football, but I'm not a member of the Y, so we want to make sure residents are aware that these programs are offered to everybody and can be used.
We're going to also work with Lee a little bit more to make sure that we're getting what we are advertising Delaware rec programs, not only on our Facebook pages, but also on the city's Facebook pages to make sure that it's really getting out there to everybody.
For online registration is, so it feels somewhat impossible at times, but I'm wondering now, is it that I'm trying to register for a city program through the WISE website, or is it just that challenging?
No, unfortunately, the software that we're using is not the most conducive for online registration.
Okay.
So for example, if I have multiple personas is what we call them in our website, it gets confused of which one is which. And so it's all a matter of us having to merge people together. But because of the level of access you have to merge, there's only 4 people in our entire bridge who can merge. So if somebody has gone to Mingo, if somebody has played a rec sport, if somebody has, as a member of the Y, they may have 3 personas in the system, which throws everything off.
Okay.
So it's not our best feature
Okay.
here. I'm sorry.
No, I just go. I mean,
It's so much easier to just come
Yes,
into the Y,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Mhm.
But now you'll also have Mingo that you can go to register as
Sure.
well. So that will open up a new door.
So you can register for all rec stuff at the Y now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry, at
Correct.
Mingo.
It will April 1st.
Got it.
Yep. Once Jake is over there full time.
wow.
The other thing that came up, this is in our advisory meeting that we had with the Y, was that, are you guys aware that Delaware residents get 10% off their membership to the Y? That you have to tell them at the desk? Did you know that? I wasn't aware of it either. We talked through that, and then I wanted to comment also that I saw you put a paid social Facebook ad explaining that. So thank you. That was, I was following that and all the views on it.
Yeah, and then it's also now on the online registration. So if somebody goes to register online, it will actually direct them to go to the Y and let them know that they are a citizen or an employee of the city of Delaware. So at first they just said of Delaware, and we're like, no, city.
Yeah.
When did that discount?
In the last month, maybe?
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
No, they've
discount's
always had the
been-
discount, but it was never, so the discount's
So-
always existed, but it's never been well known from what
Yeah.
I've,
So
aware of.
if you come to the Y to register, we will ask if you are a city resident.
Sure.
And if you say no, we'll say, do you work in the city? And if you say no, then we give you our rate. And if you say yes, then we say, great, then you get a 10% discount and we give you that rate. So they're both on the same sheet of paper, just one is for residents and one is for non-residents.
but if you're doing it online, like if you register online, you
Yeah.
won't automatically get it. You have to go in and tell them.
Okay.
We can check.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Liz?
And like I said, I'll send all these digitally. I apologize, I wasn't aware that I was supposed to come up with a report, but there
I
it is.
actually like the paper.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm a paper person.
This is a nice report.
A little bit different.
It is.
I'm gonna
It's
need to print that.
Sorry. Visually appealing.
Thanks. The color wasn't allowing me to work with it
No
today,
worries.
so I.
It's nice.
Any other comments or questions for Liz? All right, then we will move on to park update or park activities.
I'm going to introduce JP Linkus, our park supervisor. He's going to kind of give you an update of what's going on out in the parks. How about JP?
Lucky JP.
Good evening. I just put together a little list of what we've been doing here the last few months. Some of the all-day projects or some of the special projects that we're actually doing or have done in the last couple of months. Daily projects would be your park trash, right-of-way trash, our downtown lights. Of course, this winter, a lot of snow and ice removal the last couple months. We've spent a lot of time assisting our forestry department with tree removals, the high winds we've been having. We've had a few down trees here and there. Moving on, the landscaping side of things, we've been getting the beds all cleaned out. We're in the process now of getting them mulched. We do have a company that comes in and plugs in our mulch for us. We planted the downtown pots today. They were all loaded full of pansies today. And then we planted about 500 cannas here the last couple of weeks, and they're in our greenhouse located out in Public Works. We're in the process right now of rehabbing the Billboard room at Mingo. New drywall paint, just got a new furnace installed, new LED lights. Here about a month ago, I don't know if anybody's drove by because it is a difference. We installed all brand new LED lights in the south parking lot at Smith Park. We just bypassed the ballast and the old bulbs and we put in new. We also did around the front of Mingo, the approach and everything, all those lights have been, LEDs have been installed. At Smith, we're trying something new. We've been asked a lot for lights from our south parking lot to our ball fields because after softball it is dark. We've come up with a LED solar light. We installed 3. We also have 3 more that we're looking to put on a bike path, but we wanted to test them up there first to see how they do. And then, of course, one of the big things we're still doing it is winter time is getting our trash cans, our picnic tables, everything's getting ready to go back out. So we're in the rush of trying to get everything done. And the biggest thing is still trying to get our equipment all situated from the big move here a few months ago. So it's a lot of stuff to move. It is amazing how much stuff we've stored in the last 10 years. Any other questions?
When do restrooms open up at the parks?
We're going to start getting them prepared to open here the end of this week and probably next week. I could see them opening sooner than later with soccer starting.
Okay.
How about tennis nets? Putting up it.
That'll probably be here in the next couple of weeks also, yes. The sun has come out, so it's time to go.
Well, I drove by Smith tonight and there were people playing tennis and all these pickleball people sitting there waiting for the one court, you know? It's like, oh.
Does the golf course open?
That's more of a Ted question.
You know, that's seasonal. Like 2 years ago, when I first got here, we opened in February. We have not opened this year yet. It just hasn't been. We haven't even been able to the driving range because I mean it's been so wet and everything. So, but I anticipate this next week will probably open for every day.
Who's in charge with the city, not only from a beginning standpoint, but throughout the year of determining whether or not soccer fields are playable? If they're too wet, too soft, whatever it is. Who gives the green light, thumbs up or down on that?
Previously, it used to be us. Art has actually done a real good job here lately of staying off of them when he knows that he doesn't need to be on them. We've had that discussion because we have to go in and, of course, the goals all get tore up pretty good. And so he's actually been doing a real good job. And then spring and fall, we actually rotate all the fields. So that's helped a bunch too.
So basically it's Art that determines. There's no city person that says fields are open, fields are closed.
Well, JP does inspect, like especially baseball too. Like usually coordinates with the Y.
Right.
At 3 o'clock are kind of our deadline of that day to decide are we going to play or not. And a lot of times it's up to the Y, but it's usually a coordination, and JP is usually our point man on that from the city.
Okay.
Especially on the ball fields because it's the Y's material. So for us to use it and then them not want to play or vice versa. So that's how we do on the ball fields.
Okay.
Can I go back to the bathrooms? What is, I have little kids who play at the park. What is the factor that determines when they open? Like, I understand in the winter, it's, not used, pipes freeze, all that jazz, but
You want to go ahead?
What's
Restrooms? Yeah. Usually we're looking at the temperatures.
Okay.
The Spray and Play is the only restroom facility we have that is heated. The other thing too, the restroom facilities are, once we open restrooms, we turn into a 7-day-a-week operation. So
okay,
then it
I
just
see.
changes the whole staffing level of the parks.
okay. Thank you.
And we try to, like JP said earlier, try to coordinate with the soccer seasons because of all the kids that need to use the restroom.
Yes.
But, as much as possible. But, if we have pipes freeze, it can be really costly.
Oh.
Repair for us. So we try to watch the weather and the soccer schedules.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments for JP? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did we already cover off on the board participation? We need to figure out next steps. We have a couple people who can be there. Do we need to talk about them more?
Yeah, I mean, is that something the board wants to do? Do we want to cover, have a table at the family day?
My only opinion about it is that last year we had some stuff to share. So we were sharing the park that was going to go across from the Y and got a lot of interest there. We were also surveying about the smoking. If we don't have some reason or something to be there, I'm not sure it's worth having a table because it's not really a draw so much. But if you have something that we can get opinions on or share about something coming up, then I think it's worth it.
One of the parks we're going to have a concept on is Ross Street Park soon. But I don't think we'll have it by April 20th. The other park that we do have a kind of a preliminary master plan on is the Wetland Park. We could, get that a little updated. It's a concept only. So, I mean, that could be one of the items of discussion at the park to get comments on that. That would be the one.
Could we not just have a table about the parks available in Delaware?
You definitely could.
You just need, I think we just need to make sure we have something that
Yeah, there's
we're
no-
giving out and there's a purpose to have a conversation. Because like most,
It makes it easier. to
and
have that
most
conversation.
tables are like the vendors that have been there, like it's local businesses that are giving out stuff.
Yeah.
The shade tree is always there, passing out trees usually.
I
So-
think with all the changes that we have with the parks, I don't know how easy or not easy it would be to just have some signs. And the handout could be the local parks in Delaware.
But I don't think there are those things. Do those things currently exist?
What's that?
Like even a map of all of the parks?
Yes, it exists. Yep.
Okay.
I have one of those. Yeah, I mean, that's always something we'd have there, but I think Wetland Park is, I haven't presented to this board yet because it's still in the preliminary stage, but I mean, I could email it to everybody and you could get some comments that way, and it could be something that you could present at the April 20th meeting and get
Can we-
comments on.
Can we raffle off a shelter rental again?
We could do that. That bring people in, the shelter rental?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, and didn't you at one point give away some kind of round of golf or
Yes.
something? Because that was
Mhm.
also,
They could
Okay.
pick. They could
Okay, they could
pick a free round of golf or a shelter rental. Didn't-
One
wasn't
or
that
the
it?
other, yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. That would definitely be something we could do.
Ted, is the Wetland Park, is that the one behind Meyer?
Correct, yep. Yeah, there's some additional land the city already owns there, and we kind of wanted to open up some trails, possibly some frisbee golf. But we
right.
kind of want to get some input on that to see, are we going down the right path? Is this something we want to see? And, what it could turn into. The other thing is it's kind of, it could become a cross-country course.
It's a
Because,
nice path.
yeah, it's got
It's
some
a
nice
really
areas in
nice
there.
path.
It's, and I kind of wanted to show this board before we kind of made it public a little bit, but if it's conceptual only, we could still, show it at the family day. I don't think that would be, because the whole point is to get input on it.
is that something then that we would follow up with, kind of like we did last year with the first Friday in May?
I mean, you always could. I mean, you could always, yeah.
Not saying we need to, but I just figure if we're going to talk about April, we might as well talk about May.
I mean, yeah, it could be a possibility if we wanted to do that. We could get coverage for the first Friday.
It's also a walk a mile.
Yeah, I can definitely have, the park map's ready to go. That could be made available. And then, just kind of a location map, but then also the wetland park concept plan could be available also.
Did you want me to do a sign up genius?
Yeah, is that something, we could do that? Elaine offered to do a sign up genius, see if we could get coverage for the family day.
You could decide by that. Do you have enough people to work it?
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately will be out of town since it's Easter weekend.
We have tennis, live tennis scheduled that day from 9 to noon.
Okay.
Should we cancel?
Where's that at?
Mingo.
Oh, yeah, Mingo. I mean, that,
Touch base with Brad.
yeah.
And I think we really should check the soccer schedule.
We definitely will,
It
and
was
actually-
said every Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't say except.
And
So I
Yeah.
would definitely.
There still might be some soccer games at some other parks, but at Veterans, we
Yeah.
definitely don't want that.
Yeah, so
practice
just
out
have
there.
more
Is this thing on?
people.
I'm sorry, I'm making bad jokes over here because you said, I said egg stuff.
Eggs.
Easter Sunday. All right, so we'll send out Elaine will send out a sign up genie. Is that what it's called? Genius. And we will see if we can have coverage after we check soccer and all of that. But if we do have the coverage, it sounds like we have stuff to share and we can do a raffle.
Yeah.
And we need a tablecloth other than a polka dot.
Hey, we had one last time at First Friday. Yeah. It was hard to keep on the table.
Yeah, where'd that go? Did they come back to us?
Oh my God. Abby probably took it.
We'll find it. I'll help. I'll figure it out.
Okay. Any more questions about that then? Okay, moving on to Bennett Park Community Garden.
So this, just give you some background. I think I sent you emails that were included part of the packet. We had a citizen that wanted to do some community gardens at Eastside Park. So I asked her to, kind of poll her neighbors a little bit, and also we bring it to this board and discuss it here. We had some neighbors that were against it also, as you saw in the email. So I kind of wanted to just maybe talk about it at this meeting. And the resident that wanted the community gardens kind of, I guess, didn't really, felt that it wasn't necessary. And so she asked it for it to be removed she didn't have any interest in moving forward with that. So I think community gardens is a good idea on the east side. So I think we're going to still look at some other areas, and wetland parks is possibly an area that we could do it. We don't have the infrastructure in place right now, but maybe in the future it could be. So I told her that too. I said just that might be a more appropriate location, and we'll look at that in the future. So it's been a drop from the agenda.
A lot of those emails, though, from people who were against it were commenting a lot on like the maintenance of a pond and a walking trail. Is that an issue over there or something?
There's a walking trail that goes around there and needs some new limestone screenings on top. So we're looking at doing that. There is some, now there's no pond back there, but there's, it turns into a pond. It gets wet back there. So we want to look at possibly some storm drainage updates out there to kind of alleviate some of those issues. It is just wet. I think mainly it's, there's a barrier with the road and the railroad that keeps the water from draining out of there in certain areas. So there's some storm issues we want to take a look at and improve on there.
And the only reason I asked too about the community gardens is that the city do you pay for anything towards those community gardens?
No, we
all
don't.
Maintained by the neighbors, because that seemed to be what the argument was, is you should use those funds towards fixing all this other stuff.
Yeah, we don't do that. We had some at Blue Limestone last year. They were rented out, and I think maybe one was regularly used, so they turned into a lot of weed patches. The other thing at Blue Limestone is we didn't have a water source, so our guys had to take water out there, once or twice a day, and that just wasn't efficient, really.
Yeah.
So we wanted to, if we did these again, we wanted to have a water source available there, so that it really wasn't taking a lot of our man hours up. So that was kind of our look at theirs, to find a place where that really wouldn't. But yeah, it's all community. They bring their own plants, they bring everything, they weed it, they take care of it. And we have a list of rules that, if it's not attended to in, 3 weeks or something, it'll, be mowed down or something. It turns into a weed patch. So,
But how much do you really, that's a pain in your butt. So how much do you really take a look at that? And I only ask, I'm horrible with school names. I know Schultz because that's where my kid went. But the one on Liberty, if you head south.
Yeah, the Ross Street.
There's a community garden there.
Mhm.
It looks awful. It looks like it hasn't been attended to in 6 years.
Now, SWCI helps run that one. Yeah.
So I love the thought. I love
know,
the idea
right.
of a community garden. The problem is, because it's not on anybody's land, it's there. I feel like a lot of times there's no sense of ownership.
Yeah.
If you plant a garden on your property and it looks like junk, that's a reflection on you.
Mhm.
But if I put a garden in the community garden and it looks like junk, no one knows it's mine, and I don't have, I have good intentions, but then life gets in the way and I've got to do this and this, and that's the last thing I'm, thinking of. That's my only issue with community gardens, is that a lot of times when you go to them, they just tend to be forgotten about.
Mhm. And we talked about that, and we were going to change some of the rules we had at Blue Limestone to help get rid of some of that where they just were let go. We wanted to, that we come in and take over and kind of mow them down.
Right.
Yeah, I still think it's a good idea. It's just, finding that place and making sure it can be policed. And it is, the community does take care of it, is our goal. So we'll look into that a little bit more in the future, but it was dropped tonight, so.
Okay. Then we will move on to staff comments.
I didn't really have anything else to add. It was, the smoking ordinance is going to be on the city council meeting on Monday. I think 8 o'clock is when public discussion is
Yes.
slated. Okay. And so if you're not aware, the ordinance has been updated to a 50-foot separation between ball fields, athletic fields, and recreation centers. It was made known that our Parks Board, was looking at a complete ban, but that was the negotiation with council. That's what they preferred, and that's what they're looking at moving forward with right now.
What is the policy? And I'm sure this was not done on purpose, but the issue with having it next Monday is that it falls during spring break.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a ton of families whose kids play on those fields that cannot attend that meeting. What's the policy on how to get their voices heard?
They can send in.
Go ahead.
They're welcome to send a letter or an email
Okay.
in, and that would be, if you could get them in here before Thursday, they could be included in the packet. If not, they'll be handed to council.
Okay. And who do they email? Do I have an
You
email?
can send them directly to me, or they
Okay.
can send it to their council representative. They're
Okay.
all listed online. The other option is just because there is public hearing on that day doesn't mean council will take action on that day, depending on,
Sure.
if nobody shows up, they may. If there's.
Right. Yeah, I was
But it
just
has
personally
been-
disappointed to see the date because we're out of town.
So
So,
are we.
I can't
So are we.
attend because it's spring break.
And that's something maybe Ted can mention, that was a concern, or if there's anybody on the board that's able to come and speak, or maybe send.
I'm going to be out of town next week too, but yeah, we'll definitely make it known.
So what I would
Yeah.
recommend, if you wanted to send me an email,
Sure.
I can notify council of that concern.
Okay.
Again, though, it really is up to council's decision whether they will vote or not. We cannot make that determination
Sure.
for them, but I think they would take that into consideration.
Mhm.
The only other piece is that we were working hard to try and get it out so that whatever would be in place before.
And that
Sports
was
started.
another thing, is we were looking at the baseball schedule and trying to get it as quickly, so I wouldn't.
Soccer starts like in 2 weeks or something, so.
Practice starts next week. And any ordinance takes 30 days to be enacted, so there's not an emergency clause on it, so that's why. Because it is a different type of policy change.
So it's 50 feet from any ball diamond soccer, like what's the language?
It's kind of vague, but athletic field, ball diamond. Our goal is to keep a distance. So, and kind of the reason it was brought up is someone smoking within a crowd. And, you know, we don't have any ordinance or anything in place that would say, you know, this person has to move away. So by setting that distance, it didn't ban the entire park. So if someone's away from people, then they're not really, they can still smoke in the parks. But if they're within a crowd near a recreation center or a ball field or a playground, then if someone refused to like move or separate from that area, then we could, they could be charged with trespass, they could be removed from the park. So that's what the ordinance would do, would allow them to do that. Right now, we don't have anything in place that would allow that.
My understanding is that at Mingo, there's about 5 feet in the parking lot that would be for smoking.
Yeah, there's some area in the parking areas, yeah.
Because really everywhere else would fall within 50 feet of.
Yeah, and there's, and along some of the trails in Mingo too, but yeah, and again, it's really going to be self-policed for the most part. So, you know, if there is an issue, like I think last year when someone was smoking and refused to move from a baseball game, where there was a lot of people around, the proposed ordinance will allow them to be removed if they refuse to do that. So that's
Will
where it
there be
stands.
signage?
Yeah, we'd add signage to there too. I think that, and I think that would be a big deterrent also.
So everybody email Elaine.
Packet goes out Thursday, so if I have them before then, I'll try to include them in the packet. If I don't,
I mean, I could definitely I'll email you tomorrow.
I'm not here. I'm not here tomorrow,
else
but
can.
Thursday's when the packet goes up, so I can include it into the packet. Like I said, if I have them in time. If not, they'll be just handed to council, but they will be made aware.
Any other staff comments?
The only other thing I wanted to bring up is we had a Greenways meeting. I know Bob was there with a few residents. So again, this came up from our bike and pedestrian plan. Where we had a lot of people requested citywide access. They wanted access across the city. So that's what the Greenway plan is looking at. And this is also going to be a kind of a citizens movement where we get input from different areas around the city and you propose a plan for the Greenway. So we'll keep you up to date on that as we move along. We've kind of just started, but had a great meeting, and we'll have another meeting coming up next month probably. And that's all I had.
Actually, I just heard back from Jake. He said that there is no soccer the weekend of Easter.
Yes, and I was just going to say, I'm just looking at art schedule, and the earliest anything would happen at Veterans is 2 o'clock on the 20th.
Okay, any member comments? No? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned at 7:20.